The first problem for the optional exam for Calculus 2 was the integration of x to the fifth times cosine of 4x dx. So there's two ways we can complete this problem. It's the integration by parts or the tabular method. So the integration by parts takes a lot longer and is very tedious, but there are some portions of that method that we do use for the tabular method. So the first step of the method is to create a table. And then the second step is to put the portion of the equation you want to derive on the left and the integration portion of the equation on the right. This means that we choose x to the fifth as the derivative equation because that can eventually get down to 0, whereas if we chose cosine of 4x, we would just keep going forever because the integrating cosine or sine functions, they do not ever go to 0 when we derive them. And then we will repeat the process of integrating and deriving each portion of the equation until we get to 0. And then we do it again, meaning that once x to the fifth derives to 0, we do it again even though the derivative will equal 0. And then the final step is to go down diagonally, putting the derivative and integration portions of the equations together. Sorry, I missed the fifth step. The fifth step is to start with the positive sign and alternate the signs down the line on the derivative portion. So you will get a better understanding of the steps for this method once we start doing it. So, like I said, the portion of the equation we're going to derive is x to the fifth. And the portion of the equation we want to integrate is cosine of 4x. So we'll just start deriving all the way down the line. So the derivative of x to the fifth is not 4, 5x to the fourth. Deriving again makes it 20x to the third. And then we derive again, 60x squared. We derive again, making it 120x. And then it's going to be 120. And then we get to 0. Now let's integrate. So the integration of cosine of the 4x is sine 4x over 4. The integration of this is negative cosine to the 4x over 16. And then we integrate again, and that would be negative sine 4x over 64. And then the integration of negative sine 4x over 64 is positive cosine 4x over 256. And the integration of this is going to be sine 4x over 1024. And then we integrate once more at the 0, which is going to be negative cosine 4x over 4096. At this point, it's usually a good idea to check the signs to make sure you do it right, because we know that the integration of cosine x equals positive sine, but the integration of sine equals negative cosine. So we always want to double check our work. So cosine we're integrating, and that's going to be positive, and then we're integrating sine, making it negative, and then since the integration of cosine, it will stay the same sign. It's negative once again, and then it goes back to positive, and the integration of cosine is still going to be positive, and then we go down to negative again. Alright, looks right. So the next step of the equation, since we already did step 4, is to start with the positive sign and then we alternate. So this means that the first one's going to be positive, negative, and then we just keep going down the line until we run out of numbers. Okay, and then now we're going to put it all together to complete the problem, and we do it diagonally, which means that this, we're not going to end up using this. So, diagonal, this is the first one. So, the first part of the equation, pay attention to the signs here. So we have a positive on the x5th, and this value here is positive. So two positives, keep it positive. So it's going to be, the first part is going to be x to the 5th times sine 4x over 4. And then we're going to do it again. We start here, we go diagonal, we're going to look at this. So putting them together, it's two negatives, and adding two negatives together make a positive. So it's going to be a positive value once again. 5x to the 4th times cosine 4x over 16. All right, do it again. Okay, so we have a positive and a negative, so it's going to be minus 20x third times sine 4x over 64. Let's do it again. A negative and a positive, which will once again make another negative. So, negative 60x squared times cosine 4x over 256. Alright, let's do it again. So, a positive and a positive, so it will be positive, plus 120x sine times sine 4x over 1024. Alright, we're going to do it one more time. And like I said, the 0 isn't going to be used, but we do go diagonal. So it's going to put these two together. And it's a negative and a negative, which makes it plus again. Plus 120 times cosine of 4x over 4096 plus C. And that is our final answer.